XRP holders, something very, very big is on its way. And we definitely have to talk about this because it does pertain to the fact that this will essentially lead to XRP becoming very valuable. It will lead to the XRP ledger becoming very adopted by institutions, enterprises, the biggest banks out there, which will lead to mass adoption essentially. And I think that a lot of people are not really focused on what's happening right now because we are starting to see the big shift in scenery around regulations, around acceptance of utility, around acceptance of crypto as well, not just in the US, but around the world. And we have to address it. So welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. If you guys have been watching the channel for the last couple, months or so, one of the biggest moves that we saw this year was MiCA, right? MiCA regulations within Europe really started to, in my opinion, fuel the move towards all of these other major nations around the world saying, all right, it's time to wake up. We need to start looking at this because, if Europe is trying to regulate this, if Europe's trying to push this forward, then there has to be something there. And I feel as though it just didn't happen this year. I think that a lot of the growth around crypto and a lot of the discussions around crypto in just the last 24 months, the last 2 years alone, right, have just been all talks about regulating the space, accepting the space, adopting the space. But now the big thing that I've noticed is ever since the elections and ever since we got the, announcement that Donald Trump won, it feels as though we have started to see a massive shift in the US around the crypto markets, more so the regulatory side. And even here we have from Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, saying, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but Scott Bessent is the perfect pick by Donald Trump. He will be the most pro-innovation, pro-crypto treasury SEC we've ever seen. Now, what's funny about this is, over here, boom, breaking. Donald Trump has chosen Scott Bessent to be the next Secretary of the Treasury. And if we actually look at this, okay, now that real Donald Trump has named Scott Bessent for Treasury Secretary, it's only a matter of time until we get the nominations for other financial regulatory positions, including NEC Director, SEC Gov, and CFTC chairs, etc. For the SEC chair, Charles Gasparino and I have learned that former SEC commissioner under President Bush, Paul Atkins, is the lead horse right now, but some are speculating that Pam Bondi's nomination for Attorney General may give her brother, a white-collar defense lawyer at Paul Hastings, Brad Bondi, a fresh edge for the role. Bondi is also associated with Elon Musk. He represented Tesla in 2018 when the SEC sued Musk over his tweet about taking Tesla private. We're also learning that Trump's former OCC acting director, Brian Brooks, is pushing for the position and met with officials in Trump world this week, according to a source familiar. Trump's transition team is looking to make the SEC pick a person who is crypto-friendly, and all three candidates above fit that bill. A top official on the transition team told me, I promise you, it will be someone pro-crypto. So it feels as though the pro-crypto push here is definitely happening, right? Like, this is now in place. Crypto is being accepted within the US, and it feels as though it's a complete 180 from what we are used to seeing around, the US markets. But also, guys, Janet Yellen just departed from the office. She leaves a trail of mess behind her. We are now witnessing, not just in the crypto world, but also in the traditional financial world, big changes happening. And I can't help but to feel as if this is all leading us down a path to the crypto revolution, essentially, within the US. The digital financial revolution is upon us. And even over here, we have the UK. Just in the UK to embrace crypto, integrating traditional finance with digital assets, says Economic Secretary to the Treasury. Again, this is proof that around the world, we are witnessing some of the largest shifts happening within crypto. I've always said that the UK is ready because if we go all the way back to 2022, for an example, that's when the UK said that they officially wanted to become a crypto hub, but you can't become a crypto hub unless you actually have clear rules in place to actually integrate crypto within traditional processes, specifically around finance. And now that the UK is starting to do this, feels as though the US is right on path. Europe is already ready. I feel as though we are about to witness some very big moves around the adoption side of this technology. But also a little bit more of an insight on this from Smoke Dog. We have Bloomberg UK stablecoin and staking legislation to pass in early 2025. Staking, where investors lock up tokens to help keep a blockchain operating in return for a small yield, have a plan for this bull run. And here we actually have the full breakdown around this. New administration to publish single overarching crypto regime. And yeah, listen, they're ready to regulate crypto in 2025. I've always said 2025 is the year where you need to focus on the regulation of this tech. I've said it back here as well. This goes all the way back to July of 2023. I also always said that, in my opinion, the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit has always been planned since day one. And I feel as though all of the information within this document actually provides a lot of insight on why I believe this. In fact, if we go all the way back to October of 2020, Brad Garlinghouse, we're asking for a level playing field, calling for a single national regulatory framework. February of 2023, the FSB, the IMF, and the BIS working on a global regulatory framework for crypto with the G20 soon to be released in July of September of this year. December 2022, Ripple has been given the opportunity to comment on the international regulation of crypto asset activities with who? Oh yeah, that's right, the FSB. Meanwhile, they're still in a lawsuit and XRP is a security, right? Sure. In the Ripple response, we see that quote yet again, level playing field. A global regulatory framework will create a harmonized approach to crypto and ensure that we don't cause more fragmentation in terms of regulations. The lawsuit, again, Ripple and XRP, was intended to streamline crypto regulations. It also slowed the technology down for the infrastructure and standards to be put in place. And I do think that this is true today. I just don't believe in the whole idea that we just did a 180 overnight just, for fun or just because we got a new administration. I feel as though this was already planned and this was already in place. I feel as though now we are starting to see those big moves realized in. And I also added upon this saying, remember this tweet regarding Ripple and the SEC case? I broke down why I believe that the XRP case was planned since day one. Now, days later, we get the finalized FSB recommendations on a global regulatory framework. Look through the images and read my tweets regarding this. I find it very interesting that Ripple was able to comment and make recommendations regarding this framework while in the middle of a lawsuit. The best part about this document is that it confirms that the FSB wants to implement its recommendations worldwide by the end of 2025. Johnny Deaton 1 did mention that crypto regulations will take some time / even years and predicted 2025 would be his best guess. This is definitely interesting to note. And yes, I do believe that by the end of 2025, we will have a global regulatory framework in place, which will bring about clarity for this space and the technology behind it. And also, big shout out to Smoke Dog yet again, because this is his updated FSB report, October 22nd, 2024, FSB report on G20 crypto asset policy implementation roadmap, aka the time frame for global regulatory clarity on crypto assets. The Financial Stability Board is a international body that monitors and makes recommendations on the global financial system. In this report, the FSB conducted a survey of its members, revealing that nearly all have plans in place for new frameworks around crypto assets for 2024 through 2025. FSB members include central banks, financial regulators, and international standard-setting bodies like the Basel Committee, the top of the financial hierarchy. Most have directly confirmed that their global timelines for establishing legal frameworks around crypto are set for 2024, 2025. Not 2026, not 2027. Guys, it is happening within the next 12 months. This is international coordination to include crypto assets into the global financial system. And yes, it is officially happening. You could read the documents. It literally tells you that they are preparing this with the biggest players out there. The FSB has been working with the IMF, the BIS, the central banks, the World Bank. I mean, I keep telling you guys that you need to pay attention to this. And also, by the way, the Blockchain Association did write a letter to Trump and members of Congress. And if we actually look at this, on behalf of Blockchain Association, the nation's leading digital asset trade association, we're eager to work with you to ensure that the United States reestablishes itself as the world leader in technological innovation. During your first 100 days, there are 5 immediate steps that can be taken to support the domestic digital asset economy. This is immediate steps. Number 1 is establish a crypto regulatory framework. This is for market structure and even stablecoin legislation. End of the debanking of crypto, appoint a new SEC chair and roll back SAB 121, the agency's punitive anti-crypto accounting guidelines, appoint new leadership at the Treasury Department and IRS, and then, of course, develop a crypto advisory council to work with Congress and federal regulatory agencies, public and private partnerships. And guess what documents have always outlined public and private, partnerships? the BIS documents, the IMF documents, the World Bank documents, the World Economic Forum documents. Guys, what we are about to witness in the US is US-based companies like Ripple, like Hedera, even Cardano. There's many of them, right? Algorand as well, Stellar. These are big players that, in my opinion, when we look at that advisory council, when we look at these public-private partnerships, we are about to see them tapped in a very large way to ultimately revolutionize the global financial system, specifically around the US. And if we're thinking about Ripple, Ripple is so far ahead of the game, a lot of people are just not aware of it. For an example, check out this post by XRP Drops. Ripple collaborates officially with 4 of the 5 biggest banks in Latin America. LATAM's 5 biggest banks are all in Brazil. Brazil's top 5 banks now manage over $2 trillion in assets. Yeah, Ripple is tapped in on almost every single major bank out there. And if you don't believe this, right, this is just 4 of the 5 biggest banks out there. Guys, check out this post by Altcoin Hero. Ripple has assigned bank IDs to over 500 banks. Look at this video. Guys, this is absolutely wild. I'm gonna have it zoomed in. We're gonna watch this. Look at all of these banks in terms of the documents that have IDs already under Ripple. This is just wild to me. This is them preparing to have these banks tapped in. All right. And I just want you guys to understand that this is a US bank, basically. I always look at Ripple as a bank because they're becoming the first digital bank. There's a lot of documents around that. But listen, if we're taking into accountability just what Ripple is, it's a US-based company that is working with all of these big banks. They're trying to revolutionize finance as a whole. And the global exposure to the Ripple network is just insane. We know that back in like 2017, 2018, hundreds of institutions already tapped in. I think the last time that we really kind of looked at it, it was like over 500. It's just insane to me that a lot of people are just not paying attention to how stacked the Ripple network is. Now, you might be saying, all right, well, this is just Ripple, so it doesn't matter for XRP. Ripple is pushing the XRP ledger forward every single day. They're trying to bring institutional DeFi adoption to the XRP ledger. They're, tokenizing on the XRP ledger. Their Ripple custody solution utilizes the XRP ledger. The Ripple payment solution uses the XRP ledger. I just don't see how people are not really kind of looking at this and saying, wow, this is insane. This is going to be very bullish for XRP and the XRPL, especially once regulations are in place. You guys got to remember that a lot of these big banks, they can't utilize this technology because of the regulatory obstacles in place. So once we see regulations hit the space, that's the big green light. That's going to be the green light that ultimately accelerates the adoption of these utility projects. And that's when we start to see, use at scale. I am very excited about the future around this entire space and the technology. And we are now starting to see the biggest moves happening around the US, around the UK, and just around the world. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on for more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.